Okay, I'm going to teach you on where to see your visit. You go to scheduling-EVV. And if you have a visit for that day, it should be in your agenda list. As you can see, I have a visit for a client named Scott Hayes for 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I click on that. I hit check in. And then I would just write a comment saying here or I'm in the driveway and hit submit. As you can see, there's a notification that the check-in has been successful. And then now you have to check out. You write a comment again, you can just say write, you can just write out. And when you hit submit, there's going to be an error. It would say that the checkout is not allowed without ISP data collection. Please complete the ISP data from the scheduled slot. So this is why it's very important to complete the ISP data. And I'm going to teach you that. As you can see on the very bottom, just above the comment, you click on that, you scroll down, and then you should see add task score, and then 0 out of 13 has been entered. So you click on that, and then you should be able to see that all of the tasks that needs to be completed before you can clock out. The tasks are actually just easy. The first task is it talks about community integration slash recreation. So it would just require you to document where the individual went in the community, what they did there. Did the individual make choices, make purchases? How did the staff support the individual in the community? So please list what time the outing occurred. So you would just write a comment on how did the individual respond, what kind of support you offered for the individual to respond that way, and to make those choices as well. And then you select a score. Okay, first I'm going to write, we went to the nearest dollar store. And then I would score it based on this following score. I would say if the client did it on his own, it should be independent. If I provided a verbal prompt, the client refused, I did some gesturing, I prompted hand over hand, modeling, total assist, compliance, yes, no, opportunity, or non-applicable. Usually you answer no or no opportunity or NA when you just stayed at home during your shift. So for this instance, I said we went to the nearest dollar store. I would choose total assist and then scroll down to the next task. Task number 2 says what meaningful and preferred activities the individual did in their home. You can just say the individual completed completed the puzzle with only one verbal prompt from me helping him to solve. You would just select verbal prompt. Then for the medical, if there was any illnesses, there was any injuries, medical appointments, behavior that could signal a medical issue. Did you administer a medication at that time? A PRN was given. What times was this observed? And then lastly, how did the individual respond? But but in cases where none of those happen, you can just write an A and then non-applicable. If there is a hygiene list, this is the next task. If the client did all of the above, you can just write all of the above. Or if the client the client took a bath before bedtime. I helped him with only one verbal prompt as a reminder. Then you would again choose the verbal prompt. The behavior log, It talks about documentation of any behavioral concerns, what occurred before, during, and after the incidents. So for instances, we would just say no behavioral concerns was observed during my shift, and then you would just write no opportunity or non-applicable. For the food journal, you can just write the purpose of this task is actually to track what was eaten, the percentage of portion eaten, and or any specialized diets you want to track. So for patients that are diabetic, you want to maintain their diet by maintaining their diet as well. So you might want to avoid sugar, carbs, or etc. And then you can document it here. The client followed his or her diet. 50% portion of food was eaten. And then you would just say verbal prompt because you reminded her. For the next task, it talks about the location. Where did you take the individual, beginning and end of location? So from the very first task, I wrote we went to the nearest dollar store. I would just write from the home to the dollar store. I assisted the individual. And then you would just write total assist. Next task is talks about did an incident occur during your shift? You would document it here. Did you report the incident? Did you document it? How did you support the individual after the incident? What occurred before, during, and after the incident? Time and location, who was the incident reported to, and etc. So if there was no any incident, you can just write no incident occurred, no opportunity. Task number 9 is a summary of your shift. You should be able to provide a chronological account of what occurred during your shift, what did the individual do, and what did staff do to support them. So we went to the dollar store, played with the individual's phone, helped him solve a puzzle, took a bath before bedtime. And then you can just write total assist. And then for this is just an example. You can write NA and all of this. And then you hit back. As you can see, 13 out of 13 has been entered. And then you can just write a comment that all of the tasks are completed. You hit submit, and then now you check out. You hit submit, and even though we just completed the ISP data, it's still going to send you a reminder on your phone. Just this message. Please remember to complete the ISP data from the scheduled slot. You hit OK, and then you hit back, and then there should be an indication that you clock in and out and finish your ISP data by the green line, as you can see just before the individual's name and the type of visit. So when you see that green line, you're good to go.